Here we go. Right back at it here at Chart Wizard Trading. We're going to talk about a terminal pattern, an Elliott Wave that has occurred here in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So here's the count. This is a daily count. You know, whatever you can see here, going back to 2016 or whatever that fits in the window. Notice that of the different degrees here. Okay, we have a 3 here, a 4 here, a 5 here, right? And of intermediate degree. There's a larger degree at play as well. But important part here is that ends a larger pattern. So if I go back to the beginning here, so this would be the end of the Great Financial Crisis, what we called it, right, back in 2009. So you see this white 1-2 to start it off, right, 1-2, and then you get an extended third wave. Okay, you see the yellow count here. If I could fit this all on the same screen here. The yellow count is the next one, right? 1, 2. Extensions within here, 3, 4, and 5. So that's a 5-wave move there that ended in 2022. And the white count here is 1, 2. All of that, which we had just counted, that extension, that yellow one, and then a 4 and a 5. Okay, 4 and 5, and then that's all done. Right? If we go back, 1, 2, extended third wave, 4, 5, and it's done. But what I wanted to focus on in this video is this terminal pattern that showed up. Okay, there's actually 2 of them in this screen. This was what's called an ending diagonal. Okay, and that's what the Dow Jones just completed, was an ending diagonal. It had a similar one of the contracting variety, actually, back in November of 2021, right here. That's a terminal pattern ending diagonal. And then here in 2024, we have an ending. It's a terminal pattern, which means it's done now. When you see that, that is the last thing. Then it's done. Okay, and then you have a satisfactory 5 count, right? So 1, flat 2, 3, zigzag 4, terminal, ending, diagonal, 5th wave. Okay, I'll zoom into this a little bit. There's 2 types of diagonals. You have expanding diagonals and you have contracting diagonals, right? This is of the expanding type, and the rules for an expanding diagonal are as follows. Okay, you have to, it all depends firstly on 2 and 4. So here's the 2nd wave and the 4th wave, right? That's the first dependency of a diagonal, and it just depends which one's bigger. Okay, doesn't particularly matter which one's bigger yet. Okay, but in the end, it's the rule for the 5th wave is what you need. So this is what you're trying to determine. So you measure the 2nd wave, and then you impress that upon the 4th wave. We don't need that 618 there. That's okay. And you can see now that the 4th wave is beyond the 100% extension of the 2nd wave, right? Which means it's bigger, it's longer. So what that tells us is that what the rule is that the 5th wave then has to be longer than the 3rd wave. So that's the test we need to run. So we'll measure the 3rd wave and do the same thing. Measure the 3rd wave, go to where the 5th wave starts, and you have to exceed the 100% extension. It's actually based on percentage. This is an easy way to look at it. 99.999% of times, the arithmetic extension here, this 100% in linear, okay, this is not a log measurement, this is a linear measurement. So the arithmetic distance, okay, measurement of the 3rd wave onto the 5th wave, or anything you're measuring for that matter, is also what meets the rule. So the actual technical rule is percentage, okay? wave 5 must travel a longer distance in percentage than the third wave, right? So if we did the actual rule, it's going to come out to be the same as you see, okay? But 8.92%, thereabout. Maybe I don't have the exact penny, but about 8.92% was the distance in percentage traveled by the third wave. And as long as the fifth wave is more than 8.92%, okay, so we would have had to get to somewhere in there. We had to get past 41.9-ish, right, to exceed that distance in percentage. As you can see, we did exceed it. We're 10.3%, and that satisfies the rule. All right, so we have a now satisfied and legal 5-wave ending diagonal pattern, which is a terminal pattern. That's what that ends something. And you have alternation. Okay, this is a guideline, an alternation, not a rule. It's a guideline. But we have a guideline of alternation. So the second wave being a flat pattern, and the fourth wave being a zigzag pattern, we now alternate in form here, where one wave, this one being the second wave, creates a new high, and then the opposing pattern, which is the fourth wave, does not create a new high. And there you go. You have alternation. Okay. And that's the Dow Jones. So what to expect going forward, right? Now that we've identified using the Elliott wave theory our ending terminal pattern, what to expect, right? Well, the expectation is that what degree of trend are you at? And that's why these labels are important, right? So at a minimum, I'm going to zoom out to a bigger time frame here. I'm going to go to the weekly. So at a minimum now, this 5-wave move, this white one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like I showed at the beginning of the video, is finished with a terminal pattern and needs retraced. Okay, that's at a minimum. And I'll explain what I mean here in a moment. But if this then is the beginning, so 5 waves always begin something or end something, right? You don't know which one it is, but you can have a pretty good idea of what it is. So if this begins something, then all of this 5 waves is a 1. And then it's going to net a retracement. And the guideline for that is near the terminus of a fourth wave of previous degree. So that would be the previous degree here. If we're talking about this white count, the previous is actually, I'm sorry. If this is the degree in question, then the previous degree is this white one. So therefore, the guideline would be you're at a minimum coming to here, right? But first waves tend to run deep as well. Don't have to, but that's where the guideline would be. If this is a 1, then the expectation is that you will create a 3-wave move to retrace and come down near this area of 28,000. Okay. Alternate guideline, okay, would be this fourth wave. Okay. This is a previous degree. So you have to keep that in mind too, that you get a bigger 3-wave move near the terminus of this fourth wave degree. And that's only if this is a 1. If this is ending something, okay, if this is a 5 instead of a 1, remember 5 waves begin something or end something, right? And that's what we have here. If you look down, this yellow count, drag it in the frame, okay? If this is now ending something instead of beginning it, then you can expect that. Got to get bigger. Actually, I'm going to go to log so you can see it better. Boom. Because that was in a linear chart. And I'm going to log so you can see the subwave structure better. Okay. Now then, this is done. So we need to look 1 degree higher, which would be this one. And we can expect a retracement to the previous, the fourth wave of previous degree. okay, which would be this yellow count with the circle, is one lower degree than this. And you can see where the fourth wave of previous degree ended. Okay, so if this ended something, the expectation is now a three-wave move near the terminus, Okay, here's the terminus, near the terminus. What does near the terminus mean? Pretty dang close to it, relatively, right? It's going to be a big range, okay? Something like that, right? Is it near the terminus of that degree? Okay, a three-wave move down near the terminus of the previous fourth waves, which we're just back, 2009 or lower. Okay, and that means that then once that retracement is complete, then you start fresh. Okay, because that is something. All of that is something. This 5 ended something, right? And it ended the next higher degree, which would be this, a third wave. Okay, and then you're off into your fifth. Right? You're off into your fifth wave, and you will get 5 more waves up to complete that one. And then guess what? Once that one's complete, well into the future, then that all needs retraced down to the fourth wave of previous degree. Because this is all going to be something, likely the beginning of something, right? So this white 3, 4, 5 is likely the beginning of something even bigger. And then that will all need to be retraced, likely down into the fourth wave of prior degree. Bump, 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 like this. Or that's well into the future. Well into the future. Okay. That's how this all works. That's the theory behind all of this. All right. And we don't need to talk about what's going to happen 100 years from now. We're really only concerned with what's going to happen imminently. So if this is ending something, you can expect your target bottom somewhere, or in the previous fourth wave, right in there. And that's a pretty big drop, right? So how far away is that? We spent a while getting up here, and if you got to the penny of the previous fourth degree, that's an 85% drop almost, which is pretty far, right? And before you say, well, oh, that's never going to happen, this is way too bullish, yeah, then you don't know history, okay? Because there was a time when we thought, and I say when I mean we, I'm talking the human race in general, thought that would never end, right? In 1929, would never end. And then what happened? An 89% drop. And here we are 100 years later, nearly, to complete the cycle, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to finish the cycle, which needs a retracement. Okay, and we have that terminal pattern to thank for the confidence and converting your position to cash. So, because what's the point of all this, right? The point is to, when you have a transfer of wealth like this, that's this big, right? This large transfer of wealth that does happen, you need to be prepared to buy that transfer of wealth, because the only way you can transfer that wealth is to buy it from someone else. And you want to buy it when it's on sale. You don't want to buy it when it's overvalued. Okay, you don't want $1,000 pair of Nikes. You want those pair of Nikes when they're $50. So that when it all comes back, to get right back where you sold from initially, is a over 500% advance. You 5 times your money. 5 times your money, right? Which is the same thing you did here, right? So if you sold here like you're supposed to, and then the 2008 crash happened and you bought here, right? What did you do? You 5 times your money to this point. And that's what you want to do and a whole lot more. How do you do that? Well, you don't buy tops. You sell tops and then you buy bottoms. Seems simple, but most people like to let their emotions get in the way and go search for Nostradamus when Nostradamus doesn't exist. It's a fool's errand. You'll keep looking forever and ever and ever, and you'll never find him, and you won't have any money left. So there we go. The Dow Jones and the learning point of the day, a terminal ending pattern, a terminal ending diagonal to end a 5-wave move, which ends a 5-wave move, which ends a 5-wave move, which ends a 5-wave move. So while this is not any financial advice, it's more of a learning opportunity, right? So that you can prepare yourself and learn to do this on your own, which is what the Chart Wizard Trading membership is for. Right? You can check it out, wavecounts.com. If you'd like to invest in yourself, I warn you up front, you will not find Nostradamus at Chart Wizard Trading. Okay? Actually, you won't find him anywhere because he doesn't exist. But what you will find is a vast breadth of knowledge to put yourself in a position to de-risk at the appropriate times and add risk at the appropriate times. Too many people add risk at the wrong time and de-risk at the wrong time. How many people, if you're watching this video, right? How many of you bought here and sold here and bought here and sold here? And bought here and sold here? I'm not telling you, and I'm not making a claim that practicing Elliott Wave theory is going to get you out at the exact penny. Okay? Because it won't. But it gets you out close enough to the top and gets you in close enough to the bottom that you can actually realize gains instead of watching your money dwindle away to nothing. All right? If you had $1 million right here, you have $1 million in your nest egg. In a few years, if you do nothing, in a few years after the 85% drop, you're going to have $150,000 left. And the absolute worst thing you can do at that point is to sell it. Now is when you should consider locking that $1 million in, or 100,000, or 10,000, or 100. Doesn't really matter how much it is, because the price is relative. It's percentage what matters. Okay. So there's the Dow Jones, creating a terminal ending pattern. She's cooked, folks. It's all she wrote, mama. Until next time, you have a great one. I'm out.